Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we're going to go over my Curses and Serpents archetype overview for the Battle Spirit Saga card game. And unlike something like Star Dragon, where the archetype is very cut and dry, this one is less of that, which is really cool and I think really great for like a deck building and being creative with the build. But also it's kind of hard to uniformly talk about which cards are part of the archetype and whatnot. So this is more of just kind of like a purple overview in a lot of ways, and also I have like 2 deck lists at the end, so nothing like too concrete. If there's any cards that you think belong here, especially in the deck list and stuff, please let me know in the comments. We can talk about it. But this is just going to be kind of just going over some purple cards that I like, the idea of like the curse archetype, and just everything else. So we're going to start with Queen Maduke, and this is Grand Underworld Trio Queen Maduke, in case you're confused with another one. And man, I'm pretty sure like whoever made these card names got paid by the word, because some of these are some chunky card names. Anyways, going into this, I really think this is a really cool card. The art's cool, all the effects are great, and they're pretty unique as well. And but I do have some issues with it as well, which we'll go over. But starting off, level 1, 2, and 3, when one of your spirits with Curse or Blood Curse reduces your opponent's life, you place the lost life cores into their void instead of the reserve. This is a really great effect. This is a solid effect in the sense that your opponent won't be able to get the crackback for you going out. It really kind of says, let's wait until this card comes out and then I start attacking to get the effects from it, which I think is great. And it's kind of, especially like if your opponent is expecting, oh, I'm at 5 life. Even if they attack me, I'll be able to get some cores into my reserve and then maybe use a magic card to kind of get out of it. But this does not let you do this. This just means that you will be able to get a lot of advantage from just waiting and playing this. And then you don't get the they don't get the ramp from taking life, which is great. And then there's also Blood Curse, which is a kind of keyword of when this spirit would be destroyed by your opponent, you may place 1 core from your opponent's life and 1 core from this spirit into their opponent's trash to keep the spirit on the field refreshed. I think that's just really, really cool. It's a really cool effect in that. The only issue with this is that it's when your opponent destroys your card, and that's really hard. That your opponent can super duper play around it, which is a kind of a shame. And it doesn't have like the curse. Like, I don't know if it's just because like it's associated with curse, which is where like this card would be destroyed kind of thing, or like. But I think if Blood Curse was instead something like when this card destroys something, it gets the effect of like removing the core from like, I don't know. That would kind of, I think, fuel the flavor a little bit more. I think the Blood Curse effect is still cool in what it does, but there's kind of some anti-synergy, especially since like this is a 3k body, or this is a level 2, which is 3 cores, which is 6k, which means that your opponent's gonna pretty like, I don't know, I've been playing a lot of aggro mid-range and I'm not sure what that's going to be the meta, but your opponent can pretty much say like, oh well, all my attacks are 5k, so even if they block with this, they won't, Maduke won't die, so you don't get the Blood Curse effect. So it's very easy to play around, which is a kind of a shame. But you could give a lot of your littler guys that with the during your attack step, all your spirits with curse gain Blood Curse. But man, 6 cores is a lot. That's asking for a lot of cores, especially in a deck that traditionally doesn't have a lot of ramp. And that's kind of a bit of an issue in that spot too. So I don't know. I think it's we'll talk about it more as well. I'm a little underwhelmed with the potential of what Blood Curse could do with this card specifically, but I do like the idea of Blood Curse, and the level 1 effect is still great. And I think it's something you can build a deck around, which I totally did. So anyways, going over the other high-end cards kind of affecting like the Curse and Serpent stuff, but we have Phantasm Archking Xenos. When it has Curse level 1 and 2, and level 2, all of your spirits with Curse cannot be blocked by your opponent's level 1 spirits. This is a really solid effect, and I think you can 100% build a deck with this idea around, where purple's known for like being like a couple things. Cursing is one, removing your opponent's cores is another one, which makes it very easy for a lot of your opponent's spirits to be level 1, and this could just make it so your opponent literally can't block anything, and so you just win by like attacking. So I like the idea for that. You have to build around it. You have to build specifically for this. I don't think this is an auto include for a lot of curse decks. It is a little expensive at 7, but it does have a lot of good core reduction too, so that could be nice. But we'll find out. I think he's okay. He's okay for what he is. But I'll see if, I don't know. Well, I'll find out if I like him more. I need to test him more. There's also a Dark King Snake Appendicles. I really like this card, and maybe I shouldn't, because maybe it's just like bait for a good card, but man, I really like what it does. You play it, you get to remove all your opponent's cores from one spirit but one, and then you attack with it and you remove that last core. Like, it's great. It's great destruction in a game that we don't have traditionally a lot of destruction right now. And so I like the idea that this can just do a lot of damage. Your opponent can have like a card with like 20 cores on it, and this says, nah, it's gone. So I like the idea of the removal for this. And again, it doesn't really feel too expensive to play it out where we're at right now. And I think that's a really strong card for it. So I don't know. I like him. I think he's really neat. The fact that the spirit attacks has to be at level 3, so you have to get like 2 more cores on him is a little expensive, but I digress. Going into the Shadow Curse cards. Shadow's another archetype, or at least it has another flavor text there. So I think there's another like Shadow deck that we could make. And if you guys want me to try to make that, let me know. But they also just have good curse abilities. So Camelot Knight, I think, is just you run this at 4 because it's a 1 cost, and that's really important at times. The fact that this can just be a free reduction that you play later on, or just start your reduction train too, I think is strong. Then Dark Knight Florence. The fact that it's a 2 cost is nice. The fact that you have to give it 2 more cores to give it curse is a little rough, but it's fine for what it is. It stinks that it doesn't inherently have curse. Camelot Knight inherently has curse if you have a soul core on it, which we don't have a lot of soul core usage in this, so it's not too much to ask for. And you don't even have to do it when you play it. It's just like when the turn that you want to start attacking with it, you get there. And there's also Dark Knight Aglovale. I like this one a lot. So it's when destroyed, draw a card. This spirit has a soul core on it. So in the idea that sometimes you just need to play something for cost reduction, and then later in the game when your opponent's attacking, this can be like an easy blocker, and then you get to draw a card for it dying too. So and then when the spirit attacks curse, so for one of your appearance, yeah, we know what curse does. Why am I reading that? You also have our Serpent curse cards. We have Boa Trickster. I really like this card. It's really basic. It's like a basic card, but I really do like it. It's just when the spirit attacks, it has curse. It's good stat lines of you could get 2 reduction for 3. It's a 2k for level 1, but it's a 3k for level 2. And for whatever reason, if you're putting 6 whole cores on it, it's a 5. I don't know why you would. I don't understand why that one's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, but other than that, I think it's a really cool card, and it's just a staple. It just has all the things it needs, so it's great there. Then there's also Dragonaga Assassin. This is I feel like people give me flax for this. I like this card. I really do. It's just sometimes it feels like it's a really hard time to properly get all the value from this card. The fact that it's a level, it's a 3 cost with only 1 reduction, that you don't get cursed until level 2 kind of stinks. When the spirit attacks, being able to draw a card if it has a soul core on it is kind of nice. So I do appreciate that part of it, but I think I don't know if it's like a little, the reduction is a little rough, or just like the cost for stuff is a little rough. But I think he's fine. I don't think he's a bad card. Don't get me wrong. But I always feel like it's just kind of like it's a greedy pick to play this. Like you're giving up a lot for the reductions and how much cores you have to invest for this for only a draw, which is kind of rough. But it's a 4K and it's a draw, so it means that your opponent's probably gonna early game have a hard time getting rid of like being able to block this successfully. I just feel like if you could like build the board more instead of wanting to like get tricked into getting a draw with this. So anyways, I think it's fine. You play the card. Don't get me wrong. So, and then there's also King Snake Quetzalcoatl. It's not curse inherently, but it is a serpent, and it says when summoned, select a spirit with curse or blood curse in your trash and return it to your hand. Which is great. Being able to draw a card from that is fine. It's a 5 cost with 2 reduction, so it's moderately cheap. And it's a 3k for level 1. And then also when the spirit attacks, select one of your opponent's spirits that has a core on it and destroy it. That only has 1. So I guess like if you want to be like that's how it's going to be ruled. But like, it has 1 core on it. It also has 4 other cores on it, but it has 1 core on it. It doesn't say like exactly 1 core. Anyways, I'm going to be a bit pedantic, but it doesn't remove the core. So if something has like a level 1 like a level 1 core, one destroyed effect, it will still proc that because it doesn't remove the core. It just says if it only has 1 core, you get rid of it, but it's fine. I think it's a good card. I think you run it, and the fact that it not only lets you draw cards, it's like a good like mid-turn, like mid-game card where you get to refresh your resources and potentially get rid of some of your opponents, which is nice. Magic cards. I don't know why I put cards because there's only one that kind of specifically deals with the archetypes I'm talking about today. It is Poison Mist. Magic during this turn, all your cards with curse gain the following effect: when the spirit attacks one of your opponent's exhausted spirits, you may you can just attack your opponent's exhausted stuff, which is fine, which is cool. It just really depends on how much card draw you're going to have in these decks that you can afford to discard one for this effect, and it's only costs like 2, so it's not too expensive. But you can do, it's very expensive. I don't think this will ever work, but it could work where if you're playing big Queen Maduke, you give all your cards with curse Blood Curse, then you can use the magic Poison Mist to have your little weenie curse cards like Camelot Knight attack. They have curse and they have Blood Curse, so they can attack anything. And then you get to use Blood Curse to get that drain. And then I think, like, if I'm reading this right, and I could totally be reading this wrong, Blood Curse says when this spirit would be destroyed by your opponent, you may place 1 core from your opponent's life and 1 core from the spirit into their owner's trash to keep the spirit on the field refreshed. So I don't, this could just be wrong, and you guys can let me know in the comments about this too. So it says when this would be destroyed by your opponent, which I would assume destroyed by battle is destroyed by your opponent. But if you would attack with it, then assuming that's step 1 of me assuming how these rules work. But step 1. So if that works, then 2. Then it will have Blood Curse, right? And so you get to remove a core to keep it back and get rid of one of their trash a card from your opponent's life, and then you get it back refreshed, which would mean to me that you would be able to attack with it again. So even if you attacked with it, it says come back refreshed, so you get that back. That's a lot of assumings from me, and it's also a lot of cores from you to get this effect to work, because you need 2 for this, and then you need 6 on your Maduke, and then any other. So that's at least like 10 cores, because like the cheapest you could do it is like Camelot Knight, and it has 2 cores on it, so you can get the refresh and attack again. I don't know. And also it doesn't work with Maduke itself because it only has Blood Curse. It doesn't have actually Curse, so Poison Mist wouldn't work with it either. That's a lot to talk about. Probably a really expensive, stupid combo will never work, but we've made it to that point of the video, so congratulations for making it this far. We have our Nexuses. We have Purple Smoke Valley, which I really like this card. Draw 1 for one of your effects, destroys one of your opponent's spirits by reducing its course to 0. We have a lot of those effects inherently. Pentacles will get a draw off this, but also it has like level 2 during your attack step when your spirits with curse cannot be blocked by your opponent's spirit with only 1 core on them. So it's a little bit worse, but it's a pretty much the same effect of Zenes, where this is only level 1 spirits can't be blocked, and that's just if they have 1 core on them. But level 1 spirits are traditionally just spirits with 1 core on them anyways, because a lot of the, I'd say most played cards have like 2s or 3s, which they will do. So I think that's fine. If you want it, like if you can run both of them together, and you have like 2 end game conditions, but there's that. And then there's Rotting Swamp. During your attack step, draw a card, one of your spirits destroyed. I wish it was both attack steps, but I understand why. But being able to draw cards for attacking with stuff is great. And then also level 2, once per turn, when one of your Serpent spirits would be destroyed, you may discard a card and return it to your hand instead. I don't know why this card is once per turn, but meanwhile, there's a bunch of like yellow Nexuses that don't have once per turns. But it's fine. It's fine for what it is. It's one of the cards that care about Serpents. And also, like the level 2 should, if 3 cores on this is a lot. It's asking for a lot as well to like recycle something. You don't even like get like a +1 in card advantage. You recycle something. So the more I talk about this card in this video, the more I hate this card. It's fine. It's fine for what it is. You run a couple copies. You don't never run this at 4 in my mind. It doesn't get enough value from it, but there we go. All right, and then we have 2 deck lists for us. We have our basic deck list. This is just kind of like when I first started playing this. I put this together and made a couple changes overall. It's cool for what it is. We pretty much have all the curse cards I talked about. Dark Lancer Cavalier is just being able to get card draw, which is always good. Dark Knight Mordred is just like some more soul core, or just core removal effects, which is great. For what we're doing as well, especially since we are running the Purple Smoke Valley. Pentacles, I love this card, so we're running at 4. Queen Maduke, we're only running at 3. And this deck doesn't, when I first built this deck, I didn't know how I felt this card, and I don't think this deck utilizes this card enough, which I would go to the other one. But I think this is just a really great deck for anyone who just is interested in how purple works and what it does, and for getting their feet on the ground for purple for a color. And a Poison Shot because it draws cards and it removes cores. And then also Netherworld Depths. We'll talk about that more in the other one, which we'll just talk about right now. We have our Bloodcurse Anti-Ramp deck, which is, I almost strictly made this deck because of the name. The name's super sick, so I wanted to call it that. But here's like the gameplay for it. I haven't tested it enough, so don't think that this is like a end-all be-all deck for it, but here we go. So we were talking about the Queen Maduke, the fact that it's a really good card for like just controlling stuff, and so being able to like the idea for this deck is that you just build a board, you just go up your ramps by playing spears. You don't attack ever because you don't want your opponent to ramp or get cards, Nexus or Soul Cores from their life. So what you do is you wait until you drop your Maduke and then you start attacking afterwards. So that usually works pretty well in my mind. It's not very hard for you to get a lot of advantage. So we're playing cards that get advantage just by being played. So we have our Magic Swordsman, which just when if you used a Soul Core for it, you get to draw a card. We also have Dark Lancer Cavalier, which also just generically draws a card. And then also Mordred, which is some good ways for removal on a play. And then also we have our Netherworld Depths, which is a really great card if you want your opponent to just never ever attack you. So when you're just whenever one of your opponent's spears is exhausted, you get to draw a card. It can be them attacking, it can be them blocking, it can be any other effect like that. You just get to draw a card. So it is a 6-cost Nexus, but it has 3 reductions, so it's not too terribly hard to get there. And then it just kind of works really well with Core Thief as well. So like even if this is like Core Thief being able to just destroy literally anything. So as long as you have enough cards in hand, just means like you can afford to be a little bit slow to play this card. And then like if you don't want to play 2, you can use Core Thief. I think the idea that this can just be kind of like dissuade your opponent from attacking or just being super aggressive early game, and then you get to drop your Maduke, and then from there you're able to just drain their life and make it hard for them to gain any like ramping to use their own effects, which I think is great. So that's the idea for this deck. This is more theory than anything else. I need to test it out a little more, but I think it has a lot going for it, and I really want to test it. So that's why we're not playing, for any questions, we're not playing like Assassin, because this is like when attacking, and we're not going to be attacking until late game. So like that doesn't really we get more when summoning effects, and then we just kind of go off that, which means maybe, I don't know, I like Pentacles. We'll keep it there. So I think that's it. I think this is all the decks that I have for purple. I've been talking about this for a minute, and I like purple. I really do, and I want to play it more because I feel like it has a lot of cool deck building questions that I want to try to answer and just go off from that. So that's going to be it for us. Let me know what other kind of decks, archetypes, colors you want me to make decks for. Any questions you might have, I'll be in the comments, and that'll be it for me. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.